here today with my man Thomas and a new guest, Vishnu. And
Hi
so,
guys.
so guys, I wanted to start off with a little quote I heard a while back. I don't know what the exact quote is, but I do believe that in order for something to be perfect, you cannot take anything away from it, right? You can add more to it, but you cannot take anything away from it. Every element is vital. And so, naturally, there are very few things that are perfect. But I wanted to ask if
Except
you could
for
change
me.
one.
I'm just
All
kidding.
right, it's good start to the day. But if there's any one thing you could change about GSMST, what would you change?
So who wants to go first? Can I just jump in there?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. I don't know if this is like a if this is something that everyone agrees with, but I would say definitely like the attitude towards mental health, at least on admin side, because like um they give us a bit of time to read every other week, and it's like okay, yeah, it's quiet time, but like, what does that really do for me?
That's nap time for me.
Screen break, bro. I swear to God,
Yeah.
like there's like all these health benefits or all these benefits you get from like reading. It's like that's if you want to read. If you don't want to read, you're getting nothing from it. I just don't understand that. Like,
I mean, not only that, but they say it's screen break and you have to have a physical book, but I have all my books on my laptop, which I know that it looks bad, but I mean, books are, if you don't go to the library, I mean, even then, if you do, gas is expensive and getting a book is also expensive. And I mean, I got 20 pirated books on my laptop right now, which, you
let's
know,
not admit to crimes on the. You're just adding to your quotes, man. I'm just. The
no, I
FBI is
know
gonna
that.
watch this and they're gonna have a top on. I'm just gonna say that, you know.
Top 10 on the most wanted list. I think they released that recently, didn't they?
Did they?
Did
Oh, okay.
they?
Okay,
They
that's
did.
a that's an interesting list.
I'm not. I don't keep up with the FBI, so you know.
Me neither.
I'm ignorant in these sorts of fields. No,
I
but
know that.
I
Oh,
think
go ahead.
Vishnu
Sorry.
is right. Like, definitely the focus. Like, it's everything for academics in our school. Like, you have no sports. The clubs, like, 70% of the clubs were sacked during our freshman year, or like right before our freshman year. And it's only recently since they like restarted like cultural clubs, like with the BSU.
Yeah.
But like, that's the
Mhm.
only one that exists right now. And like,
I
it's
think there's
only
also an
for
MSA now,
academics.
like
MSA? Okay.
Muslim Student Association.
Yeah, there
Uh,
is.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm honestly I'm glad that Miss Mom is bringing some of the stuff back. To be honest, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
100%.
Mm.
Because last year was only all academics. Like every single club had to be academic oriented for it to exist and like get funding or whatever. I don't even know how clubs are funded, but just for it to exist in a school. And it's
Right.
just like so annoying.
They're funded just through public crowdsourcing from the members, right?
No.
Yeah, club fees.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you. They gotta do something about the clubs. Um, I bounced a lot. I bounced around a lot with the clubs. I feel like the whole college argument where you have to stick with a single club for 4 years and like become the president of that club within that time is ridiculous.
That's from
Because
MIT.
I mean, even MIT, they gotta. I think that these days they don't really look at that stuff anymore because they gotta understand that no anybody that does that is probably lying. Um,
I mean,
But
yeah,
yeah,
there is that, but I think there are I don't know how like widespread this is, but there are definitely colleges that call like the club sponsors and verify that okay you were actually on this thing. But you're right, like this sort of thing is now it's not even really that unique. Like it's something that everybody strives to do. So I think one way of going around that is like, if you see something missing in your school, like in extracurricular activities, is you go around that and you make your own thing, right?
like the podcast.
There we go. Yeah, you take initiative.
100%. But you still need approval from the school to do that. If they don't allow you to do it, then like you're kind of out of luck.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
you
fair.
gotta do something that the school actually likes. You can't just like start a skating club or something.
Hey, let's start a boxing
Yeah,
ring, bro. Get underground boxing. Let's get some bets on. Come on.
What do you mean underground on the fourth floor? On the fourth floor.
On the fourth
on
floor.
the fourth floor. Put some use to it.
For
That
oh
would
my
be.
lord, for
Do you guys know when the fourth floor is going to be like fixed up?
They're starting construction in 2023 apparently.
2023?
Yeah,
Really?
Like, what time 2023? Because we're in part of
after we
2026.
graduate, probably. Of course. You're gonna get it done by the time we're gone. It's
It's
just a
not like
vendetta against us.
it's not like we don't have the funding for it. I mean, we got
Oh,
plenty of sponsors, and we could just put up a couple posters up there saying like Spectrum funded this or something.
right.
That's why I don't understand that this goes like it has so much funding, but at the same time it seems like nothing works.
But then again,
They
some of
spend it all on the TVs. They installed a new TV recently too.
did
They
they?
did. They also
Yeah.
have like three like big printers, like 3D printers that each cost a whole lot of money in the
Oh yeah. No, I
adding.
was I was talking to Taslim, and I think each for one of them it's like 25 grand, and they got three new shipments. So that's 75 grand just on 3D printers.
Yeah, and then
That's
like
insane.
I also heard that like we don't really know what to do with it.
I really wish that they would reinvest this money into uh getting the entire like parking system and car rider pickup drop off fixed because it just doesn't work. I understand it's a safety issue in that you want like well okay Thomas, but there's like
Safety
it's
issue,
hard
quote
to
unquote.
it's hard to say what exactly a safety issue even is to having only one entrance or one major entrance to the school. I just wish it was like a two-lane road, one for buses, one for cars. That would make
Yeah.
everything go far smoother.
Man, everyone's too hyper focused on safety, bro. It's like, come on, bro. What happened? Like, you don't need all this. You don't need like, I just don't understand like why everything has to be around safety. Like when most of it doesn't do anything for safety. Like you can't like be dropped off at the actual parking lot, even though there's literally no problem safety wise for that. Like it's just so annoying. I understand actual measures for it, but like these dumb measures that do nothing, it's so annoying.
I I feel as though you gotta balance it. There's some safety issues that won't impede anybody, like I don't know, maybe metal detectors or something wouldn't be the worst, but there's some safety things that you can add that just make everything a lot worse, like banning book bags entirely.
Some schools actually do that. It's kind of funny. Like you see videos
Oh
on
yeah,
TikTok of people like bringing on shopping carts.
shopping carts and baby strollers and like just belts of
That's
stuff.
funny, man.
Yeah, but
It's just
And I think there's also like a clear backpack policy in some
yeah.
states, some counties, which is I mean, I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. Like,
clear.
what
We
do you guys think of that?
we'd be able to tell really fast who's messy and who's organized.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Well, to be fair, in my backpack, all I have is one binder, a computer, and a charger. That's basically it. I have like three
You
things
keep
in
it
my
clean.
backpack. Well, I mean, I also may have like some papers jammed in the bottom that I never look at, but you know.
It's like clear backpack isn't necessarily the worst, especially if they offer it. I'm not saying that I would be really for it. It's just that, well, nobody's for change necessarily, unless it's a really
Right.
necessary change. But something like this, I wouldn't be that mad about, as long as it calms, admin down and everything. And okay, so here, let me put it this way: if they just say clear backpacks, do it by next week, or else you're suspended. I'd be I'd be furious. But if they do say clear backpacks, and if you do that, we'll give you this, then I mean, if it's a trade, then that's okay.
I just don't care about. I mean, all this safety, man. I just don't, man. Safety is just a word people use to do whatever they want, man. It's for
To
safety.
justify stuff.
It's for safety. Ooh, we gotta protect children. The children have to be protected, so we have to do this my way, but only my way, not anyone else's way.
6 speed bumps.
For real, man. That's so annoying. Like going into school, you have to like. It's basically a roller coaster, man. That's so. Come on, man. We've gone
What
too
are your thoughts
soft.
on this? What are your thoughts on this, Vishnu?
Honestly, I no, I agree because like a lot of stuff that happens these days is very performative. Like it's like they're doing something so they can say that they've done something, but it doesn't really mean anything, right? Um, well, I mean, it's performative measures are something that I can go on and on about because it's not just safety and stuff. It's most issues in society, right? Like we
AP
plaster
exams.
something on AP AP exams. Like that that's actually interesting that you bring that up because like okay, I don't know about AP exams, but oh, actually, no, it does relate to AP exams. Because, like, College Board basically monopolizing high school education and then being like, okay, if you don't take this exam, you're not going to do well. So take this exam for the sake of your education,
And sign up
but
in
it
the
has to
fall.
be the College Board way.
And sign up in the fall. So like you don't even know what the course is about, but you still have to sign up for a test.
Right.
It's for administration purposes, guys. Trust me, it's for administration purpose.
Yeah, then
But
if
you
you
still
want
have to pay to get refunded. I mean, you don't get refunded if you cancel it.
You don't
Okay,
get refunded.
and you
Right.
have to pay to cancel it.
the fact you gotta
Hmm.
pay to cancel is ridiculous because
For real.
like if you don't get the is the lowest grade possible a one or a zero?
It's one.
The one.
Okay. If you don't go, you get a one, and I bet that's like a decent chunk of the ones out there. People that
Probably, to be
can
honest.
show up.
I look at the AP exam like statistically. I see those ones, and I just feel sorry for the kids, man. Cause
Yeah.
like they probably didn't even want to take the test, but they signed up for it, and it's like they didn't
They
want.
they paid money to take them.
I
Yeah.
feel like it was like parents or something that forced them to take it, or just college board or teachers that lied to them, saying that the exam's going to be fine.
Or maybe they just
Actually,
paid for it and they just didn't want to waste the money, so like they just took it just because they might as well.
Actually, paying for it, that's interesting because I know Gwinnett County doesn't do well. Gwinnett County, I'm pretty sure at some you can get like fee waivers and stuff, but having talked to like people in other states, I think like South Carolina, some like school districts they give you back a pretty big chunk of like the cost. Like here, if you're taking two AP exams, right? Like the first one is $10, right? But the second one is what, $90?
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
In some districts in South Carolina, I think they make you pay half cost for like any exam you're taking. So like if you're taking more than one exam, you're paying less money.
Man,
And I'm sure there are places where it's like you don't have to pay; it's completely reimbursed. But yeah,
why
that
can't
varies.
GSMST do that? We got all the funding in the world.
I think that would have to be like a county-wide measure.
It's the same thing with teacher pay. Like we have all this funding, but like, our teachers get paid exactly the same as they would in
Exactly.
like Brookwood or whatever. So
It's gotta
Right.
be, it's gotta be some kind of county thing, right?
it probably
There's,
is.
well, hold on. If we get all this funding, what do we even do with it?
That's what I'm honestly
That's a good
questioning
question.
myself too. Like we have like what 1,000 gifted students in the school. Where's the money going?
Because, so I know that if a lot of the not scholarships, but donations we get from big people,
Hmm.
a lot of those have a very fine print on it that says that you have to use every dollar of this donation, and I think that's supposed to defend against like embezzlement.
Corruption.
Um,
Right.
yeah, but I don't know if it works because you just spend it on free 3D printers. Uh,
I
you have
think
to
it
rent a
actually
room.
it goes to even further lengths because even club spending that's interesting because I was talking with some people in robotics and their club dues are like $175, but not all of that money gets used. They get like I think each team gets allotted maybe 2 or 3 grand to like buy whatever they want, but the money that's raised is way more than that. So it even goes down to the club level where um if clubs are making a lot of like money. Some of it is just like going. Well, we don't know where it goes. That's an issue. I think there needs to be more transparency with funding in all regards on the county level, the school level, and club level.
$175 for a club. That's insane.
I
Robotics
mean,
is
I
robotics
understand
is
like if there's
You still
one
have
of
to
the best.
pay to go to all the other leagues, don't you? Or do you, or is that reimbursed?
Well, I mean, the field trips themselves, they definitely cost money, at least some kind of
Oh,
price. I don't know about the price tag itself, but you
because
got
if
like
that was,
hotel fees and everything.
because like if you went to Houston last year and that was like reimbursed or whatever, I would understand where the money went now. But like, if you still have to pay for that thing, like what the hell?
I'm sure that they pay for some of it, but they can't pay for all of it. It just
right, and because a
because
lot
it's
of the money
well,
goes towards. Yeah, no, go ahead.
because it's not a like a yearly fee. It's not something that they can plan for. It's something that they would pull out of their savings. And I know that large clubs like robotics have yearly savings that they hold on to for things like the Lex trip. Yeah, but I don't know. Transparency would be nice. That's the one really nice thing about band, actually. They have full transparency, and you can see how every
Hmm.
single dollar is spent and how they want to change the budget and everything. And it's just nice.
Are
I
you in
haven't.
band?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I've been in a band for four
Uh,
years.
uh, do you go to zero period or you just like,
Zero period, zero period.
that seems painful.
Oh, it is. It's bad because I'm no morning person and I don't drink coffee either. So like it's
Her bro's a strap.
yeah, it's just so. Hold on, I'm gonna get back to zero period band in a moment. Funding, yeah, funding. So with band, you get to make changes to the funding. What's that word I'm looking for? I don't know. We'll move on anyway.
Budget?
You get to yeah, budget. There you go. You get to suggest changes. You get to confirm it. You get to do everything. Check out how every single dollar is spent. Check out what kind of expected fundraising is happening. And I've never really like appreciated that for what it is. It definitely wouldn't change it too much if it weren't there, but people would start to ask questions, which would be an issue. Um,
Mm-hmm. I'm
I
also,
appreciate it.
Right.
And as for zero period band, no, waking up at 6 a.m. every day is brutal. It's not even 6 a.m. It's more like 6:20. I try to push it as far as I can, but
I also wake up at 6:20, but I don't have zero period.
Dude,
yeah,
my bus leaves at 6:20. I wake up at 5 something to get to school. And cuz no, I
Just, yeah. Okay.
think it sucks. I have to there's like a and it's like an hour and a half of commute time that's just wasted. Anyways, that was my like mini rant that's not relevant at all.
no, no,
Yeah.
you're good. Complain all you want
That's
because
good.
it's
That's the
it's
thing with like transportation in school. It's like you already spend like 7 hours in school, but you still have to like spend an hour or two per day going back and forth, and then you have to spend
Exactly.
time on homework. So like by the time you finish all that, you got like maybe I don't know 3 4 hours of free time per day if you want
yeah,
to
but
sleep.
then again though, you can do a lot of
You
your
get
homework on the
4 hours
bus
of free time.
itself if you can.
What did you say, Vishnu?
Oh, I was just saying you get 3 or 4 hours of free time.
Oh yeah, I do.
I don't I
Well, if
He's
you
not
want
factoring in. He's not factoring in like eating time or
to,
okay.
well,
Yeah.
if you want,
like
if like workout's not free time, then like I only have like an hour or two.
like
No, no, I
like
even like I don't
it turns into like you budgeting your own time. Like I'm sorry to cut you off, Vishnu, but that's what it turns
no,
into.
no, it's good.
Deciding what's most important.
Right.
I feel like my
Mm.
budget, I'm pretty comfortable with my budget, you know. I may not have a lot of free time, but you know, I do everything I kind of want to do. Like, I don't think I'd really benefit from more time in the day. Yeah. I mean, of course, watching a
That's
few more
interesting.
YouTube videos would be nice, but at the end of the day, like, I'm fine with what I do. You know, I spend good 60% of my day doing school. I sleep for 8 hours, and I like spend an hour or two per day working out, and I'm happy with that. Just spend
I
whatever's left working. I mean, free time.
I struggle with that to be honest. Like I don't even like I'll be honest, procrastination and like, getting distracted. That was an issue for me last year. But somehow this year has become worse even after I've, stopped like getting myself distracted and stuff. I still spend about 90% of my time on school. I don't have like free time activities. Maybe yeah, no,
Well, I don't
that's
take
that's how it is
physics or
for
like
me.
AP chemistry, so I don't take like,
Yeah, I don't take them either.
uh,
I took those last year. I took physics last year. I've not taken chem. But I oh, you know what? I'll say this. I think game design definitely takes some the big chunk of my time. Oh, that
I did not hear
that
great things
class.
about that.
It's
I've
fine,
heard,
like yeah.
well, I was just going to say that I've heard like, very extreme things on it. And, well, not extreme is a bad word, but I've heard people say that they really like it. Those are the people that can code. And I've heard the other people.
See, I don't like it for one reason, and that's or maybe this was my mistake because like I think taking game design senior year is just a bad decision because it requires that you devote a lot of time to it like every day. Like especially if you're working on a project and you just don't work one day, you've been thrown off for the deadline, and you're probably not going to make that deadline. And so, especially like we had a project due literally today at just a few hours ago, and it's so stressful because like my group, I was working with Brielle, and for the first week we couldn't get any work done because both because all the like source control software we use, like Plastic SDM and GitHub, they failed on us, so we got zero work done during that time, and it was just absolute hell making it up.
That's the thing with coding, bro. It's coding like you don't have a definitive time to do something. Something can always like break or like debugging, and like a
Yeah,
1 hour
yeah,
project can turn into like a day project, you know?
definitely.
Well,
So
that's what usually happens. It's not even like something. It's not something that you don't expect. It's something that you have to learn to expect and account for in the most horrible way. A
Right,
pro Any project that's supposed to take 1 or 2 hours, there's going to be some issue with the software that we need to reinstall. The computer is going to destroy. The Wi-Fi is going to collapse. The entire atmosphere is going to decide that the ozone layer is going to die. I don't know.
you
Something's going to
forget a
happen.
semicolon.
Yeah, that's all it is.
the as
That's all it
Mr.
happens.
Shapens puts it, every developer of every piece of software that you use absolutely hates you and wants to destroy you. That's how he puts it. And to be honest, he's right. Like that's how it ends up working out.
Yeah, man. I don't understand. Like we've had, I guess Python's not that terrible, but like we've had coding for so long. How have they not made it easier?
So the thing is that them making it easier is them trying to take a computer, have the processor talk to the person through zeros and ones for multiple different levels of compilers. You got the processor, which is the zeros and ones. You got machine code, which is the most basic level of programming. You got the language itself. Then you have the compiler on top of that, which your integrated development environment, and anything can go wrong at any level. You can go wrong. You can just type something in wrong even. Like even then, if you're typing in something online, the servers themselves can go down. So it's not like they're trying to make it horrible for you. It's just that like
It's
anything
just
can go
how it
wrong at
is.
any point. Yeah, it's just how it is, and nobody can do anything.
I think
Like
it has
if you
gotten a
want,
little easier.
oh, it's definitely gotten easier. But I was going to
Yeah,
say that if you want something that's going to be super robust and it's going to always work on you, prepare to learn machine code. Like,
definitely. Yeah, but I think in the recent years, well, not recent years, but like probably in the past few decades, we've moved from like having to definitely know, a lot of those low level languages that are a lot closer to the machine code, to being able to do a lot of stuff with high level languages, right? Um, so I think there's been some progress there, but definitely it's not still easy per se.
Oh yeah, it's nothing's easy, man. Especially with coding, man. Bro, making a website's hard even, man. Like using
making
HTML,
websites.
HTML sucks. HTML's
Well, so what a lot of people don't know is that it's not just HTML. You got to go with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all
oh
JavaScript,
together.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
JavaScript
And
is
then
hard.
on top of JavaScript and stuff, you need to know all like the different things like JS Node and all those other additional things, right?
Hmm.
yeah, but that's like even more advanced. HTML is for your super super basic. Like this is a website. This is regular information. Then CSS
Right,
is just to make it more streamlined so that you can actually work on something and not devote actual like weeks to making a functional website. And then
right.
JavaScript is that like buttons or any pieces of code. And then Node.js, that's talking to servers. Like if so, it would be nice if it was all in a single programming language, but that's not going to happen for a very long time.
Even with HTML5, or are they at 6 or 5 right now?
Who knows? Who cares?
I think it's 5.
So it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun though, if you don't like experience too
But
much problem. Vishnu's laughing.
I mean, every single patch now at this point is going to be something like we've added in a new, like, tiny line of code that says if the user scrolls down at this speed, then jump scare them or something stupid. I don't know.
That's kind of funny.
It's like they're not adding functionality as much.
I have no clue in this argument right now. I don't know what HTML is doing with their stuff. All I know is how to make a horizontal line.
Do you even know how to do that?
It's like the yeah, like the greater than sign, HR,
Ex-
less than
mhm.
sign, greater than sign, slash HR, or great less than sign, or yeah, or greater. I don't know.
We'll take it.
Is that
Yeah,
correct?
it works.
Okay.
There's still a lot of stuff to be grateful for, though. Like things that we have that others don't have. I don't know.
For
Well, the
sure.
fact that it exists. You want to go back to the 80s, bro? Let's go back to the 80s.
We
No
wouldn't have
computer.
podcasts in the 80s. We wouldn't have anything. Well,
Oh,
We have
true.
radio. Get
true.
the 90. What's the frequency? 204.8.
That's a really high frequency. I don't know.
I don't know.
Usually radio frequencies are around 100.
Okay, let's go 105.8. Okay.
105.8. Okay.
105.8. Tyrone. I don't
You know, do you guys know anybody that uses ham radios?
know. Who?
So, well,
Let me
ham
hit
radios, ham radios, there's just an old piece of technology that's,
some
I mean,
boomer
if you,
stuff right there.
yeah, but people used to enjoy them because you could get into just about any radio frequency by tuning in, manually, like how, yeah, people used to do it.
Oh, like the.
Right.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
At least I
I
believe
used to
that's
have one
how they, really? Did you ever use it?
to like listen to the radio.
Hmm?
I mean, not really. Well, I guess sort of, but like then I broke it. So I was a very destructive kid.
Did you have ADHD when you were a kid?
I mean, if you have it, can you just like lose it?
You
So
grow out of it. That's,
you do?
well, sort of. Like, I'm no expert, but, and I'm sure that there's people disagreeing with me, but the way that I understand it is that as a kid, you're just naturally more hyper, and some kids are even more naturally hyper, and those are kids labeled as ADHD delinquents.
So
And
it's
then
just
as
they're
you,
natural, but like they
I
don't
mean,
fit within the standards.
yeah, they can't sit in a chair and listen to a lecture for 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day.
That's
But
so dumb,
I
bro.
think, yeah, I don't know.
I
Some
don't
I
know.
ADHD, we all started talking at the same time. Come on, Vishnu, you say what you were thinking. You haven't spoken in
I
a
mean,
while.
I was just gonna say, I was thinking about like there must be a ton of people out there who like, because I think I've experienced this a little myself where you think that, something's wrong, right? And you tell your parents about it, right? And it's like the reaction is like, "Oh, you're fine. Don't worry. We don't need to get it checked out." So I was just thinking about like, that with ADHD, right? How there are definitely people out there who haven't, but maybe they haven't like gotten it, diagnosed or whatever because of certain limitations.
Probably
Even
a large number of
even
people.
even if you get it diagnosed, though, you only get like normal pills.
That's for real.
What do you mean by normal pills?
Like, is there any other word for them?
Pills?
You get what, like Adderall, right?
You get out. I don't know.
Isn't that
I
for
think you get,
headaches?
well, I think you get something similar for Adderall. I think Adderall, don't quote me on this, but I think it's something that's supposed to help you concentrate or like get less. I know that they don't get anything. I know that ADHD kids don't get specifically Adderall, but I know they get something similar.
I'm not a
Mm.
big fan of medication that changes how you think or like your brain
No,
function.
no, 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 no.
I'm not a big fan of that.
No. It messes with you, and it messes with your friendships bad because you notice. Everybody notices.
Cause like you have like these, not like so you have people, right? But like if you try to change them to fit within your standards, then are they really the same people? So
It's
like
too,
it's kind
it's
of
Good
like
too hard.
question.
it's kind of like that meme. I forgot to take my ADHD medication today, and it's like just so just basically I don't know. It's kind of weird just how you can take away a person's not individuality,
I
but like
thought
persona like that.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. You guys know about the ship of Theseus, right? Where it's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you have like a ship and that's damaged or not damaged, but let's say you take the ship apart piece by piece and eventually replace it each piece, right? Is it still the same ship?
Mm, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's kind of the same
So
thing
I
with
guess
humans and like cells, because like every seven
Right.
years or so, every single cell in your body has died and regenerated. So like after
Mm.
7 years, are you just still the same person, even though none of
Uh,
your
that's
cells are the same?
nah, that's not true.
What do you
Because
mean
there's
this?
some cells. Well, there's some cells that never die or get replaced, like the lens in your
No,
eye,
no. Okay.
neurons too.
I'm no doctor. Let's just
Oh,
go
you're
with
good.
Vishnu's example.
It's mostly true, but it's like a it's a simplification.
I
Yeah.
think
You're,
that also the problem also depends on like what's your construct of the self, right? Like it's is it the physical body? Is it the mind, the soul?
I mean, for humans, that's like what we've been philosophizing over for years and
Oh
decades
yeah.
and millennia.
Hmm.
Skip centuries there, but it don't matter.
I'm sure even other animals philosophize about that kind of thing to an extent. I've heard of studies where bears, if they find anything really scenic, like a beautiful river in a mountain range, they might just sit down and stare for a couple hours.
That's what I've
Like,
always like, because I think it's kind of selfish to think humans are the only one who have the capability of self-reflection and like knowing that you are not you're just your body. I think that's
Right.
just I think animals also have that ability to do that. I don't understand why people only think humans can do that. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
it's not just eat, sleep, and survive, right? Animals got their own stuff going on too.
Because if you think about it, animals and humans are not necessarily that different. Like, genetically, we are pretty much primed the same way. Just survive and protect the young and reproduce. That's like the only goal of every single animal, pretty much. No
Much
animal
more
is
goal.
born wishing for world domination.
I mean, actually, now that you say it, like maybe not world domination, but like territorial disputes. That's definitely a thing.
Oh yeah, but like genetically, like if it was just a sole world with nothing in it, animals would not care about like territory. They'll just only care about survival, reproduction, and caring for the young. Like genetically, and that kind of humans are kind of the same way. Except we give ourselves more meaning, if that makes sense. Well, animals don't.
We give ourselves more weight,
What do you mean by weight?
as in like more importance. I don't know.
Mm, I don't know. Maybe. The thing is
It's
just like,
it's too hard to say. You can't. It's hard to like it's impossible. Not impossible, but it's really hard to figure out what an animal is trying to say, if it's trying to say anything. I don't know if there's any that really got like I guess wise enough, smart enough, knowledgeable enough to handle communication.
oh,
I
there's
mean,
animals that
aren't
communicate with each other all the
No,
time.
no, no.
definitely.
I mean like with words though. With
Of
like
words.
But like,
not even with words, but
what
like
are
with the
words except like random sounds that we make and assign meaning to?
here,
That definitely exists.
no, like I meant with a system.
Like in that
Because I
sense, wolves
Yeah,
also have a language. Like wolf howls
exactly.
mean like different wolf howls mean different things. You know, like
And
each.
especially with whales as well.
Yeah.
that's a very linear system though.
I mean linear system.
As in like you can't ask how was your day and expect a response.
They can like through body language.
I guess.
Like so.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
if you want to, if you want to say animals are lesser now, then you have to say humans are lesser than like a million years ago compared to what they well not a million years. We weren't around a million years ago. If you
Oh
say
no.
animals are not as important as humans now, well not important, but like not as sophisticated as humans nowadays. Well, I guess that makes sense. I guess okay, so animals are not sophisticated, but like they have the same concept. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know
mean,
what
no,
I'm
no,
saying, man.
no. I understand what you're saying. It's just I misspoke a little bit earlier, or I didn't make my intentions too clear.
Hmm.
What I was saying was that a lot of this stuff would be a lot easier to like learn and document if we could properly speak with animals, because
How do
you
you?
can't really
We can speak with animals. Did you
exactly,
not?
and that's what I'm saying. It would be nice.
No, but like that was that lady who like I don't know if this is a actual story. I heard someplace that was like just
But,
entirely made up, but like that lady who like talked with a gorilla
oh, yeah,
and
I
like
heard about that,
developed
and I've
sign
seen
language with it.
and I heard it was kind of fake.
Yeah, I heard it was fake too. I have I don't know. I just saw a headline and kind of didn't care about it.
And all you can do really is just like study them, right? And try to assign meaning based on that.
That's a super
I don't know.
sciencey way of looking at it.
I mean, it's,
Yeah,
what other way is there?
No
right.
idea.
We're not
That's
doing
the
a
only way.
terribly good job at assigning meaning right now.
It hurts my head to think about that kind of stuff.
I like thinking about it. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
It's
I
cool thought
agree with
experiments.
Thomas there.
It's a thought experiment to be sure, but if you only do thought experiments, you're gonna have a headache very soon.
I don't think you have to be comfortable with not the unknown.
Yeah, exactly. If
You
you
have to
come,
accept
yeah,
like some stuff just doesn't have answers. Like, what is the
well
meaning of
said.
life? The meaning of life is what you make it. Like, there's no definitive answer to it. Like, if you want to say what is the meaning
42.
of life, you are the meaning of 42. You are the meaning of life, you know? So it's just like,
Yeah, no, that's very well said. I I think you guys familiar with the idea of like nihilism,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
existential nihilism, right? Okay, yeah. No, it's isn't I don't know what you're because there I feel like there are people who proclaim themselves they're like, okay, I'm a nihilist. I believe that there is no inherent meaning to life, right? I feel like that's more of a transitionary like phase rather than a set of beliefs because every I feel like most people who go through that nihilistic uh viewpoint they end up coming out being like okay
I
their
agree with that.
meaning is what you make of it, right?
I don't I don't like nihilists just because like you can't give no meaning for something that exists. Everything that exists has meaning, if that makes sense. So
dude,
like
you're going off the deep end at this point.
no, but think about it, like if it exists, it has some
Yeah,
sort
why
of
does it
meaning.
exist?
For real. Like it has some sort of purpose. Like why are the molecules arranged in this way for it to exist? It has a meaning. The meaning is its molecules. Like that's in a rudimentary definition, everything has meaning. Meaning you might not understand the meaning, but it has meaning. So, like, you can't say nothing, not life is meaningless. When at the end of the day, life is all you have.
You
You
know,
know.
Vishnu, how was your day?
My day has it's went uphill with this podcast, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, that's
Philosophy
good.
of Thomas, baby. I like it. New
Yeah,
segment.
I like it too.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
We
mad
should
about
we should have that in the NGHS newsletter, philosophy with Thomas Beard.
I'm not mad about philosophy. I just think that I can't think about that kind of stuff. It hurts me.
what I mean, it hurts you, man. Like,
It hurts my soul. I can't think that hard, dude. What do you mean?
it hurts the soul, man. Well, man, there's only one way to get better, and that's to go through pain.
What? Well, what if I just ignore it and move on?
Then you'll never experience enlightenment.
Then you know what? I'll
No,
call that my own philosophy and deal with it and work around your
for
rules.
me, philosophy is like one of those things where it's like I like thinking about it, but I don't like thinking about it on my own, right? Like it's something where I need someone to talk to about it, and we're just sitting there chilling. I find that that's when you get the most like meaningful conversations about it.
Oh, I can think about it for hours on that. I've literally thought about it for
Yeah,
like hours just by myself. Like
right.
I just go on walks, like 10-mile walks, and I just think about it. It's
Uh-huh.
crazy. This mind, you don't know me, son.
That's a vibe.
For real. Nah, but you know, everything's gonna turn out well. That's my philosophy. Whatever. Life has a way of closing with a good note.
I like that. I like that idea.
I like that too. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Although it hasn't worked out for some people.
Yeah,
what do you mean it
they
hasn't?
didn't look at the footnote hard enough. They didn't look for the good part hard enough.
Yeah, if you think you end on a bad note, you're not looking far enough in, man.
Mm.
You know,
Fair.
give me an example of a bad note. You
There's a lot of bad notes. Let's not do that.
know. I mean, you can everything. You know, there's nothing purely in its own vacuum. Everything has other
Yeah, every
elements surrounding it. It's like nothing is inherently 100% bad. Even if it feels bad, it can still also be good. For example, GSMST. while you're going through it, it feels terrible, It gets you down in the slumps, if you know what I mean. But like
Yeah,
afterwards, you feel like you it's worth it.
you've done something, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's also like a very bittersweet pain because it's obviously it hurts, but because everybody else is going through the same pain as you, it makes it a very unique experience that you don't get at any other high school, I think.
Like,
But at the
brotherhood.
same time, like, I don't know, going back to GSMST, one of my biggest worries right now is whether or not it's all worth it.
It is. If
Well,
you
yeah,
ask if it's all worth it, it probably is.
but is
Because
it?
therefore you have
Well,
investment within the answer.
well, I know, but how
I'm
much
not
am I
sure I
really getting?
follow that
Oh,
logic.
okay, here, Thomas. You say that it's worth it, but how much worth am I getting out of it? Can you give me a quantized answer?
Well, I mean,
I don't
for,
think I don't think you can quantitatively answer any question like that.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
at the end of the day, worth is up to like art is the value of art of it is within the
Bro,
value of like the beholder. But like at the end of the day, if you ask, is something worth it? But you already committed 3 years towards it, there's no other answer that you can have except yes. Okay?
okay.
If
That's
you
one
did
thing.
not think
Worth it.
something was worth it, you would not be spending 3 years of your life doing it. Okay? Like
Well, I'm kind of at this point. Like, if I spend,
I know you're like the point of no return. Like I already put this much time into it, so why not finish it?
no,
Uh,
it's not even that. It's a different point. It's if I spend 10 minutes on something, I can end up with an 85. If I spend 1 hour on something, I can end up with a 95. What do I do?
Depends
Law of
what you assign value
decreasing
to.
marginal utility.
It
Yeah,
just
like
depends what you value. Do you value your time or do you value your grades?
at this point in time, grades are great, but do
Then
I?
you go to 10 minutes 85.
I guess I
You know,
suppose
Yeah,
so. But then,
but
but then you're
then
not only valuing time, you're also losing grades, or you're losing parts of your pride, because we know that's
why would you
some
have your pride put in grades?
but if you I
that's
think
not the
so.
same
Okay,
thing.
some people do this. Some people do this. That's one thing. But again,
No,
that's another question of value. Like, if you value your grades that much, then you'd spend the hour getting a 95.
you would.
But at the same time, it's like I think what a lot of people do is they're like, okay, you know what? Even though this is 10 minutes versus an hour, what if this is something that is like a big impact in the future? And then they like even though they don't value the grade really that much, they'll go ahead and, do it anyways because of something that may happen in the future.
Opportunity cost.
Opportunity cost. Oh my god, dude, econ. Ugh.
It's all
Yeah.
economics.
I mean, if you think about it, economics is just the quantification of human value onto the world. So
Stop.
like, it's basically. I mean, yeah, am I
Yeah,
wrong? Like, it's
You're not wrong. It's just 9 p.m. and I don't
so
want
there's
to do
no
philosophy.
difference between financial economics and personal economics, like how you feel and value stuff. Because at the end of
Actually,
the day, time is
I
money
like
and
that.
money is time.
I like that a lot.
So, it's all
I've
about the
heard that from
thinking. Do more
I've heard
thinking.
that from I've heard that from big
you know.
business, but oh, what was that, Vishnu?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with Thomas.
I've heard that quote from big business, but your roundabout way of saying it, I like a lot more about how there's an economics to everything. Like a it's not it doesn't always have to be a profit maximizing company. It can be any kind of profit, any kind of maximizing.
As long as there are two things that you value, there will be economics. I
That's hard to think about. I don't know.
mean, like, no, like if you value two things, you can't do two things at the same time.
No, I understand,
So
but
therefore, you have to sacrifice something for another thing. Oh my
then
lord, economics is the quantification of sacrifice.
Yeah, no,
no,
that's literally what it is. It's like economics runs on human nature basically.
Yeah,
Dr. Trophy calls it the depressing science.
it is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, it is depressing. Oh, my grade in my class. That's what's depressing.
But then we go back to grades. That reminds me. I never shared the thing that I wanted to change about GSMST.
Oh
I
yeah.
so my biggest thing is that I wish that things were less serious. Mainly when you look at classes, I wish that they were other classes that explored more pursuits rather than academic pursuits. Because recently I looked at some of the Maxwell classes and they have some great classes because it's all divided into programs because it's a vocational high school. And they have stuff like culinary arts, electrical engineering, which is like wiring stuff, automotive. They got everything, and it's.
Right.
I wish I could just do
Yeah. I agree with you there, but I think it gets a little weird and it goes a little bit onto because I think our opening question today, right? It relates a bit to ship of Theseus, right? Because if you um I feel like if they were added as classes, GSMST would lose a bit of what makes it GSMST. Which is I'm not saying it's a
Sacrifice.
good thing that we. I'm not. Yeah, it's a sacrifice. Right? I'm not saying it's a good thing that we don't have those classes. I'm just saying that GSMST would not be GSMST, and I mean that really that whether you like that or not depends on you as a person. But I mean, I think where I would personally like to see them is like as clubs and stuff. And hopefully with Miss Malm in charge, maybe we'll see that happen.
Hopefully. But with what was I thinking? Okay, with that statement, just like I don't know. I mean, like if no one's from eighth grade is gonna watch this, but just to get this out there, like if you think about going to GSMST, just know if you go, you have to find value in your life outside of GSMST. GSMST is just there for like your academic achievement. It's not gonna be there for your personal fun. It's not gonna be there for like I guess it develops your character, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of other things that can develop your character a lot better. But like, if you just know GSMC is only for academics, if you want to go there, be prepared to like have something else to like fulfill your other needs. You know,
You always have to have something else. It can't just all be school.
yeah, it's not like any other high school where like most other high schools, there are always like clubs and like other activities where you can like actual like social groups where like you can always satisfy like most high schools are built so like you can have a nice well-rounded life just within the school, but not GSMC. At least that's what I feel like.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a good
Academically
message for
bloated.
everybody, eighth graders and people in GSMC right now, because the ninth graders need that pretty bad.
Yeah.
They were just in eighth grade like 5 months ago.
I can't believe like people that are in high school right now had COVID during like sixth grade.
Oh yeah, it's hard to think
Oh
about.
yeah. Mm.
And then some of the people that I tutor at Mathnasium, they had COVID like in first grade and second grade, and that's even harder to think about. But the
Right.
weirdest part overall is that because they had COVID and now they have Chromebooks, they are really good at technology for their age. Like really good at technology. I know that back then I didn't even know how to check my grades. I didn't know grades existed until probably seventh grade.
I remember
Honestly,
Yeah, I didn't realize grades existed until seventh grade. Like it wasn't something I ever worried about.
for real. I kind of same thing here, man.
And
Like
I kind of miss that to be honest.
yeah,
Not having to worry about grades at all because well, I'm in the
wait,
danger.
were grades not like available online in GCPS and when we were in seventh grade?
Oh,
Because I wasn't here for seventh
no,
grade GCPS.
no, they were. I just didn't know like how to do it.
Oh.
oh yeah, 100%. I didn't even know e-class existed until like my freshman year.
Well, yeah, it's
Really?
just nobody used it. Like
I mean like
we
student view.
didn't use it. Yeah, no, no, I
That's
didn't even. They didn't even have student view for a while. It was
oh,
all
they
in
didn't have
class.
student
Well,
view, right?
wherever my grades were in, I didn't even know that existed until like
Yeah,
ninth grade.
yeah, and we didn't use e-class extensively until probably eighth grade, and that wasn't even extensive. That was just in certain classes, like go do your homework on e-class, right?
Right. That's interesting. Because for me, eighth grade is when I came here to Georgia. So that was like the first time I got into the whole E-class thing. Because before, I'll say, I mean, I went to a charter school like before I came to Georgia, and so maybe it was a bit different in other places, but it was completely like very it was not online at all. Like computers were only really required if you were taking a class that you needed say Photoshop for or something like that. Other than that, everything was paper pencil. You didn't know your grades at all. You had no way of checking them. Um, so you have to go to like an assistant principal's office to go. get them to give you like a printout of your grades. And it's like, it was weird. So that was a bit of like a paradigm shift for me. But I just assumed that was the norm, to be honest, when I got here.
Well, it's yes and no because a lot of it does depend on stuff like funding, but not everybody has Chromebooks like that. That's just not how it goes at all. Everybody has the
Right.
technology, everybody has the access, and because of COVID, everybody had to learn how to use the technology really quickly. And now that we're using
Yeah.
that technology, it's like shifted us forward a good 5 years into the future in that sense.
Mm,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because now those classes won't be going back. I don't think they will at least.
I'm not a big
Mm.
fan of grades.
Me neither. Like after that single conversation, I think I will not worry about grades as much. I know I'm doing well in my classes, and that's good enough for me.
Mm.
Grades
Right.
aren't
I wish I could
grades
say the
aren't.
same.
Same. Same.
Well, here, let me ask you this: if you're living in like 1990, and this was the United Kingdom or something, where it's a completely different system, you couldn't check your grades much. What do you do? You
Go
you
have
judge
fun.
yourself. You judge yourself based on how well you do in the class. Like, do you understand the material? And that's kind of how I wish things went, because like judging somebody based on 92 versus a 93 is just so ridiculous. They're both fine.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or
Valedictorians,
or
man.
even or even judging somebody based on an 89 versus a 90 is the stupidest thing on the planet.
For real. That's actually a good point. Like, just that one
Mm.
point difference is a
Right.
25% difference on your GPA. It's crazy. 1% difference equates to 25% difference on your GPA.
Yeah.
And then there's teachers that won't round your grade anyway.
No, and then you have these grades. In 80 is pretty much the same thing as in 89. So you have 9% difference.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
equates to nothing on the GPA.
Yeah. And then
Nothing.
you guys and then let me take it back to my argument. Do you want to spend 10 minutes getting an 85 or in 1 hour getting like a 95? Do you want to spend 10 minutes getting an 80 or 80 or 50 minutes getting an 89? Does it even matter at that point?
Right.
And that
Right.
and that's why I pull up that argument because that's the sort of thing I think about. Like, I don't
It's just
know.
such a weird system we have, man.
It's not a
But
weird.
it's also it's a hard.
Honestly,
It's something that's hard to get right because like you have to draw a line at some point. It's just deciding where that point is.
but
Well, there
then
just is no line.
yeah. Well, the thing is that that's how they did it a long time. Like how I said in the 90s in England, they didn't like have that system. They just said
Education is education. If you want to take it seriously, you take it seriously. If you don't learn anything, that's just your problem.
it's like a long time ago. It was just pass fail, right?
Right.
I think that's how it really should be.
That would be nice.
Because then you like quantify these students into like gifted or like whatever. When in reality, there's a marginal difference between them. Honestly, most times it just comes down to like how many resources they have available, whether they're
Or you
gifted or
or
not.
you can spell like effort, right?
Yeah, or like what their hobbies are. Like someone who's interested
Mhm.
in history is gonna have a lot higher chance of being gifted compared to someone who's like, I don't know, interested in like what's it,
Basketball.
basketball. I mean, whatever, that's good. Like it's all situational, and individual. It just makes no sense.
Man, if there's one thing I've taken, this is by far the most introspective podcast I've ever done. And if there's one thing I gotta take away, it's that check your grades list. It's not worth it.
Fair
Like, if
enough.
you know you're doing
There,
fine in the class, don't look at the grades.
you
Let
could
your
do
parents.
that, right? See, that's the thing. I often, most of the times, I don't know when my grade changes. It's like my parents come and say something to me. They know everything. They like it's kind of scary. But yeah, I think the issue now is not like getting people to like students to understand that. Is getting like parents to understand that. That's one thing. Because it's also a bit of a generational thing, right?
Oh yeah, because even our generation is a lot more. I don't want to say liberal because that has political context, but a lot more free than generations before us.
Our
Right.
generation's kind of terrible within like the grander economic macro or macroeconomics of like the entire thing. So if the Zoomers, like most Zoomers have a Generation X parent, right? And Generation and Xers basically encourage your kids to be very, very competitive because like there's no guarantees in this world, and the only way you can stand out is by standing out. So therefore, like you have to be very competitive, and therefore everything kind of becomes a game. If you're not the best, you're pretty much the worst at it, you know? And therefore,
Right.
you have like all these Zoomers who are so competitive and just in tunnel vision onto one thing that like
Like,
it's just they're so introverted. They have the highest rates of suicide within every single generation. Even like if you go back to like when Gen Xers were young, they still didn't have the same suicide rates of like Zoomers, and like everything's so competitive and everyone's so tunnel minded. Like there's a lot of oversaturation that's going to come within the future. Like I don't know, like individualist markets. Like you have coding, that's going to be very saturated within the future,
Oh
and then
yeah.
you have like
Yeah.
but if you have like more team building activities, like I don't know, management's not gonna have that many people. You have like the millennials, but like after millennials, Zoomers are not gonna be the best ones to fulfill management. They're gonna be good for like individual stuff like coding and like I don't know what else there is, but like for more team building and like
extremely specialized stuff,
team
right?
or oriented stuff where you need to work together, they're not gonna be very good at that. Or like if you need to be adaptable, Zoomers are not gonna be very good at that, generally speaking. Anyways, that's just my economic rant.
It's not economics, it's peoplenomics.
Eh.
But yeah, but yeah, that kind of thing. I've been contending with that kind of stuff for a while. Just the question, where do I draw the line on everything?
hmm
I don't know. You
Just
learn
like
by experience, right?
life should not be made a game. Life is an experience, not a game.
It's not a game at all. It's an experience in which
But
you
like
learn
make it a
things.
game like who can get the highest grades, who can get the most money, who can do the most, who can do the best of this thing. That is the winner, Then like we just gamify everything, every single niche
Mhm.
within everything. And it's just like who has the most value basically is what we're and there's an
Yeah,
upside to that where like people are more value driven, but there's also a downside where like
they're value driven.
uh
Double-edged blade.
It's like so now that I've got you guys thinking about that kind of stuff, like some of my arguments, like I wager they make more sense now about how I wish that things were less serious.
yeah.
Because less serious, I will admit that wasn't the best wording, but I wish things were less numbers and more based on how you feel the class is going, kind of thing.
hmm
Yeah,
we want to wrap it up? We're about an hour
I don't know.
through.
Here,
Yeah.
Vishnu, any last thoughts?
Um, not so much in relation to the discussion, but I just want to say this has been a very like mentally stimulating discussion, and I very much enjoyed being on here. And I honestly, if you guys are open, I'd love to make time and like be on here more.
Oh yeah,
Perfectly
100%.
fine.
Yeah, so I really want to keep this podcast going. This podcast has been like, it's been so nice to do and put my time into because it's something fun. It's something that I can say I don't know if I'm good at. I don't know. I think I am because I'm putting a lot of effort into it, but it's hard to tell because like on YouTube, the last podcast, I think it's got 3 views right now, and one of those
Uh,
was me. I don't know. So you can't base it off of value, right? Like, or sorry, not value, but
we've just
numbers.
been talking. Yeah, it doesn't. That don't matter what the
Yeah,
most views are. It just matters like how much you put in, and like how much you like just passionate about it. Like
yep, and I'm pretty passionate about it. I put a lot of
same.
time into it,
Personally, I really
and
don't care how many views there are.
oh, me neither. It'd be nice if there were more views so the more people got to see our messages, but it's whatever.
I'm just happy I got to talk about philosophy more once, man. Alright, with that said, I guess we can wrap it up here. So, yeah, next podcast should be probably out. Yeah, we record like next weekend, so yeah, tune
Okay.
in for that one.
Although one quick thing is that next week and I'm hosting a little uh never mind, don't worry about it. It's just admin stuff.
Alright, bye, fellas.